Welcome to the Instagram live of Eco-sathi Nepal. Sabaiलाई namaste. So I know it's been a while that we have not done such Instagram live session, I know, but we have a very valid reason for that since we were very much occupied on investing and working on our products. So giving continuity to our previous live sessions and talk more about on sustainability and inspiring speakers and guests who have actually worked on that field. So we are doing this live session again. सो आज हामीसँग चाहिँ एकदमै स्पेसल मान्छे जोडिनु हुनुहुन्छ होइन उहाँको नाम चाहिँ मिस हौसला गुरुङ थापा मगर हो सो उहाँको बारेमा भन्नुपर्दा चाहिँ सी इज द को फाउन्डर एन्ड क्रिएटिभ डिरेक्टर अफ हौसला क्रिएटिभ्स एन्ड अल्सो द फाउन्डर एन्ड डिरेक्टर अफ चिल्ड्रेन एन्ड युथ फर्स्ट है सो सी विल बी जोइनिङ अस इन अ वाइल सो थ्याङ्क यू फर सारिङ अल द्याट लभ फर अ वाइल म चाहिँ कमेन्ट सेक्सन चाहिँ अहिलेको लागि बन्द गर्नेछु just so that we are more present on the conversation itself, and at the end we can take the questions that is related to sustainability and other things right. So on that note, let me send a request to Haushala ji. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. So, Hausaji, are you there?
Yeah, I am here, Azur. Hello, Hima. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Namaste.
Yeah. Namaste.
It's so good to see you in person, although your live session of boyfriend. I'm God.
Azur, it's an honor as well, Azur. Thank you so much to Eco-sathi and Thapa team for inviting me.
I think it's a pleasure for us to host and then listen from you. मैले personally पनि तपाईको बारेमा like I've been following you and then learning more about you, and then it's so inspiring, and actually being in here and conversating you, it's a moment for me. So Haushala ji, हाम्रो conversation start गर्दाखेरि अगाडि नै like for people or for viewers who might not know or have not heard about Haushala Creatives, how would you define or introduce Haushala Creatives to them?
So Haushala Creatives is a local brand which started in the year 2014 मा सुरु भएको त्यो भन्दा अलिकति 13 end of 13 मा सुरु भएको. So Haushala Creatives we are a repair brand and also a advocacy brand भनौं न. Over the years, last 3 years मा चाहिँ हाम्रो ब्रान्डको भ्यालुजहरुदेखि लिएर हाम्रो एथोसहरु चेन्ज भएको छ. अनि so we are a local brand that supports local artisans हरुदेखि लिएर अरु ब्रान्डहरुलाई पनि we support, and we call ourselves an ethical sustainable brand. But हामीले चाहिँ सामान प्रोड्युस गर्ने मात्र हैन, हामी चाहिँ एडभोकेसीमा पनि काम गरिरहेको छौं in the past 2 years अहिले चाहिँ. So I think so we call ourselves a made in Nepal brand that focuses on advocacy and on ethical and sustainability. तर हाम्रो अहिले मेन फोकस चाहिँ as repair हो. We call ourselves a repairing brand. So हामी चाहिँ कपडा मर्मत गर्ने ब्रान्ड भन्ने चाहिँ आफूलाई चिनाउँदै छौं अहिले.
That's really great. I know about my study गर्दा पनि Haushala Creatives go to like how is what the idea was born itself. There's a very good and beautiful story, so if you could share that with us, and also about the children and youth first thing.
So actually Haushala Creatives was started in the year 2013 को mid मा सुरु भएको हो हैन. अनि यो चाहिँ as a sister brand to support children and youth first organization छ जुन हाम्रो organization we run CYF Nepal भनेर छ. अनि to support the organization सुरु भएको हो. तर त्यसको actual story चाहिँ के छ भने it started with to support Bishnumaya Bomsung भन्ने दिदी हुनुहुन्थ्यो जो चाहिँ was one of the mothers of our kids that we supported. And उहाँ चाहिँ she used to work in the carpet industry. अनि त्यसपछि उहाँलाई चाहिँ breast cancer भएको थियो. अनि breast cancer हुने खण्डमा चाहिँ she couldn't work. अनि त्यसपछि उहाँलाई चाहिँ financial support चाहिरहेको थियो. तर she didn't want to beg for money, and she wanted to give her skills or sell things that she could make. So उहाँले चाहिँ embroideryहरु गर्नुहुन्थ्यो अनि knitting सामानहरु बनाउनुहुन्थ्यो अनि टी पोस्टर्सहरु बनाउनुहुन्थ्यो. So यो चियाको टी पोस्टर्सहरु बनाएर उहाँले knittingहरु गरेर हामीलाई देखाउनु भएको थियो कि सो उहाँको आइटम्सहरूलाई बेच्ने अनि त्यो प्रफिटले चाहिँ उहाँको ब्रेस्ट क्यान्सर जर्नीलाई सपोर्ट गर्ने भनेर चाहिँ हामीले सुरु गरेको हो विदाउट रेजिस्टरिङ अर एनिथिङ द्याट होइन अनि त्यसपछि सुरु भयो अनि हाम्रो फर्स्ट हामी 2014-13को एन्डमा गर्ने बेलामा एकदमै राम्रो रेस्पोन्स आयो सबैजनाले सपोर्ट गर्नुभयो हामीले चाहिँ यो बेस क्याम्प भन्ने ठाउँमा गरेको थियो झप्सी खेलको त्यो बेलामा इट वाज जस्ट पिकिङ अप एज अ स्मल प्लेस अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ त्यहाँ धेरै सपोर्ट आयो विष्णु माया दिदीलाई पनि धेरै सपोर्ट भयो अनि उहाँको ब्रेस्ट क्यान्सर जर्नीमा पनि हाम्रो हौसला क्रिएटिभ्सले फुल उहाँको ट्रिटमेन्टदेखि लिएर उहाँको फाइनेन्सियली उहाँलाई सपोर्ट गर्न सक्यो अनि त्यो हुँदाहुँदै चाहिँ हामीलाई उहाँको जर्नीले गर्दा उहाँकै वरिपरिको अरू समुदायको अरू महिलाहरूले पनि जोइन गर्नलाई चाहिँ इच्छुक हुनुभयो हाम्रो यो कलेक्टिभमा अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ हामी वी वेन्ट इन एज अ हौसला क्रिएटिभ्स भन्ने ब्रान्ड तर sadly विष्णु माया दिदीले she passed away in 2015 and then two of her sons studied with CYF organization हाम्रो अर्गनाइजेसनसँग अनि अहिले चाहिँ रिसेन्टली उहाँको छोरा काम गरिराख्नु भएको छ अर्को ब्रान्डमा अनि उहाँको यङ्गर सन चाहिँ हामीसँगै ग्रेड 10 मा हुन्छ
My God, such an inspiring story पनि के आफैमा है and it started with like encouraging more women and building that gender equality itself. So the naam pani Haushala भन्ने बित्तिकै encouragement and then giving that strength. So it's such a good and touching story for her, inspiring as well. And then knowing that her sons are leading some paths, following her, you know. So हजुरले त्यो children and youth first बारेमा पनि भन्नुभयो. So we also would like to know like how did it start, the idea of like children and youth first किनभने it has been supporting I guess 65 underprivileged children right now, you know. So how, like could you please tell more about that also?
So Children Youth First organization started 15 years ago. This is our 15th year that we're stepping into our 15th year. We run our own school dedicated for kids coming from marginalized families about and it's a residential school providing quality education to kids coming from all around Nepal. Ani हामी सुरु गरेको चाहिँ 15 years भयो when I myself was 22 years old, end of 21, 22 years old, when I was volunteering in an orphanage in Baladu, and that's how the journey began. Basically, I was volunteering in an orphanage, and it happened with falling in love with the kids, 14 kids that were in that orphanage and supporting this orphanage, but realizing that everything that we had donated and given to the orphanage was being used by the people who were running the orphanage for their own means. So, त्यो देख्ने बेलामा चाहिँ I was a recent graduate of social work. And me and my best friend, we were doing this voluntary work. And we had already known these kids for a while, and just to turn away from that and say that to turn away from it, we couldn't turn away from it. I think so that was also because we were very young, and we had that rage and like what is right to do. गर्ने पर्छ भन्ने खालको सोच पनि थियो. अहिले पनि छ तर त्यो बेलामाको रेज चाहिँ अलिक कम भएको छ जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई. So यसरी चाहिँ हामीले बच्चाहरूलाई रेस्क्यु गर्यो त्यहाँबाट. We had a police case as well त्यहाँ. अनि त्यहाँको बच्चाहरूलाई रेस्क्यु गरेर हामी अपार्टमेन्टमा लिएर आएर राखेर उनीहरूलाई स्कुलमा इनरोल गराउने च्यालेन्जेसदेखि स्ट्रगल्सदेखि चाहिँ सुरु भएको हो. सो CYF didn't really start as like हामी अब के गरौँ बच्चाहरूलाई पढाऊँ एकदमै भनेर सुरु भएको चाहिँ होइन. It started with a notion of like let's do something that is right, होइन, and let's do it in the right way भनेर सुरु भएको हो. अनि 14 kidsबाट रेस्क्यु भएर सुरु भयो. अब we have 65 kids अनि त्यसमा among our 14 kids, most of them they finished high school, schooling SSC पनि सकायो. And त्यसबाट नै अब 2 to 3 of our kids from that original rescue गरेको विद्यार्थीहरू चाहिँ अहिले they work with us as our supporting members and our supporting staff of the organization itself नै. So that's the journey of CYF. अनि 15 वर्ष भयो. अनि we started off as we collaborated with the school, and the school ended up being our partners and supporting supporting kids coming from marginalized families completely. So 15 years भयो. We started off as like renting a small room in Bhaktapur to now having our own space in Godavari and running our own school. So that's been the journey also.
Okay. So listening to you, I'm like just like having the goosebumps, isn't it? It started with such a amazing story. My God, which I think I did not know, even during my research. So I'm taking that moment to soak in as well. So now that we are talking about sustainability Haushala ji हैन so एकदम lame and basic way मा भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ for you like how would you like what is your understanding of sustainability or how would you take sustainability as your understanding भनौँ न
So if you मलाई personally ask गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ I think so I take sustainability भनौँ न दिगो हामी दिगो कुराहरू भन्छ दिगो विकास भन्छ हैन सस्टेनेबिलिटी म चाहिँ धेरै जस्तो सस्टेनेबिलिटी भन्दा पनि म चाहिँ धेरै जस्तो सस्टेनिङ भन्ने वर्डमा म फोकस गर्छु पर्सनली पनि म किनभने चाहिँ द्याट इज मोर समथिङ द्याट रिलेट्स टु आवर कल्चर टु आवर इन्डिजिनियस भ्याल्युज टु नेपाल एज अ होल ग्लोबल साउथको कन्टेक्स्टमा कुरा गर्ने हो भने म पर्सनली चाहिँ म त्यसरी कनेक्ट गर्छु सस्टेनिङ भन्छु किनभने चाहिँ हामीसँग सस्टेनिङ प्र्याक्टिसेसहरू पहिलादेखि नै छ कि नेपालमा भनौँ न अब गुन्द्री बनाउनेदेखि लिएर सुकुल बनाउनेदेखि लिएर अचार हाल्ने फर्मेन्टेसनको प्र्याक्टिसेसहरू सस्टेनिङ प्र्याक्टिसेसहरू हो नि त किनभने सस्टेनिङ भनेको चाहिँ म आई टेक इट एज अ वर्ब होइन वर्ब इङ्ग्लिस शब्दलाई नै हेर्ने वर्ब गरेर हेर्छु म where sustainability is more like a noun, होइन अनि so I connect to it as a verb किनभने sustainability भनेको चाहिँ गरिराख्नु पर्ने कुरा हो नि त जुन चाहिँ भोलि पर्सिको दिनसम्म हेल्प गर्ने हो होइन आजको कुराले भोलि पर्सिको दिनसम्म हेल्प गर्ने हो सो सस्टेनिङ भनेर चाहिँ म हेर्छु एज अ वर्ब अनि त्यसै सो आई लुक एट सस्टेनेबिलिटी मोर एज अ सस्टेनिङ फ्याक्टर जुन चाहिँ मैले एभ्री दिन मेरो दिनको दिन कुरामा मैले के सस्टेनिङ कुराहरू गर्नु सक्छु जुन चाहिँले चाहिँ मलाई पनि हेल्प गर्छ मेरो कम्युनिटीलाई मेरो इन्भाइरोमेन्टलाई हेल्प गर्छ भने चाहिँ सो आई लुक एट सस्टेनेबिलिटी एज अ सस्टेनिङ वर्ड देन एज अ सस्टेनेबिलिटी चाहिँ हजुर
So तपाईँले अघि भन्नुभयो जस्तै we have like traditionally पनि हामीले यो sustaining practicesहरू चाहिँ गरिरहेका छौँ होइन हाम्रो पुर्खादेखि भनौँ या घरमा पनि त्यो सिलाइ बुनाइदेखि लिएर अचार बनाउने गुन्द्रुक बनाउने हुन्छ नि द्याट इज लाइक अहिले हाइलाइटमा मात्र नभएको बट इट हेज बिन अलवेज देयर विदिन अस होइन स्पेसली अब इन्डिजिनियस कम्युनिटीमा होइन त्यो इज देयर तर where that like has there been any moment for you like you feel like okay consciously पनि ए यो चाहिँ गर्नुपर्छ है I think this should be given more focus भनेर at one point of your life
I think so that happened with clothes मेरो लागि चाहिँ म I love fashion I love wearing clothes I love I think so I mix and match and I love clothes so मेरो लाइफमा चाहिँ पर्सनली मैले भन्नु honestly भन्नुपर्दा चाहिँ I used to be a shopaholic पहिला and I used to buy a lot of clothes I used to hoard clothes भनौँ न अब चाहे पनि नचाहे पनि maybe I'll need this clothes भने किन्ने होइन अनि बाहिर के गरी गएको बेलामा ट्राभल गरेको बेलामा इन्डिया अथवा कतै गएको बेलामा नि चाहिने भन्दा धेरै किन्ने के एउटै सल छ भने 10वटा कलरमा किन्नु थिङ्स लाइक द्याट के सो मेरो लाइफमा चाहिँ द्याट वाज द मोमेन्ट फर मी अनि 2015 को एन्डमा 2000 भनौँ बिगिनिङ अफ 2016 2015 को एन्डमा चाहिँ मैले लाइक आई हर्ड अबाउट द राणा प्लाजा disaster that happened in Bangladesh that killed 1,100 garment workers, who were producing who were factory workers, who were making, clothes for people like us, and their lives were not insured, their rights were not thought of, exploitation of labor भयो नि त त्यहाँ अनि जब यो भयो मलाई कस्तो फिल भयो भने मैले कहिले पनि सोचेको थिएन कि कपडा जस्तो हामी ह्युमन राइट्सको कुरा गर्छौँ हामी मानव अधिकारको कुरा गर्छौँ तर हामीले कहिले पनि क्लोदिङमा पनि हाम्रो कपडामा पनि मानव अधिकारको कुरा सिएको छ कि सोन भएको छ भनेर सोचेको थिएन के सो मेरो लागि पर्सनली चाहिँ मैले त्यो बेलामा इट वाज अ वेक अप कल अनि आई स द्याट ओके फर मी सस्टेनेबिलिटी चाहिँ फर मी स्टार्टेड विथ क्लोथ्स एन्ड द्याट्स वाट आई अहिलेसम्म पनि आई एम भेरी कन्सियस अबाउट वाट आई बाई who I buy it from, where does this clothes come from, and like मसँग भएको कपडाहरू म long last गर्न चाहन्छु जति सक्दो हुन्छ र I try to promote brands or people हुन्छ नि who practice clothing मा sustainability होइन सो त्यसरी चाहिँ मेरो sustainable journey चाहिँ like sustainability को त्यो aspect चाहिँ मेरो चाहिँ त्यो fashion बाट सुरु भयो clothing बाट चाहिँ सुरु भएको
हो So I think the incident happened like a lot of victims were like especially women, I know, like economically.
Yeah, I think it's around like 60 to 70%. अनि त्यो बेलामा चाहिँ के थाहा भने there are these big brands हुन्छ नि अब हामी एकदम ठुलो ब्रान्ड कन्सियस भइरहेको थियो नि त त्यो बेलामा नेपालमा 2016 मा H&M or all these big brands or we have to own to be brand conscious, to be look cool, stylish ones, but these brands are exploiting people. And these brands are not just exploiting people. They don't know where their clothes, the line of like industry ma थाहा हुनुपर्छ, transparency हुनुपर्छ, मेरो artisans यो हो यहाँ हो, उनीहरूको rights यो भनेर ठुलो ब्रान्डलाई त थाहा हुनुपर्ने कुरा, especially from the west, हैन? अनि त्यो नदेख्दा चाहिँ मलाई एकदमै कस्तो लाग्यो भने like we talk about all these big things, हैन? You like rights को कुरा गर्छौ, यो को कुरा गर्छौ, तर these big brands should be aware. How are they not aware about their workers? And that was very shocking to me. Shocking भन्दा पनि it was more like a wake-up call that this is how things work. And त्यसपछि चाहिँ I got to know more about other people who are talking about sustainable brands, मात्र हैन कि workers को rights को बारेमा, environmental rights को बारेमा चाहिँ थाहा हुँदै गएपछि I got more and more interested into it as well and conscious about it.
I think that was really one incident, like कतिले चाहिँ like normal people लाई पनि like एउटा hint दियो कि there is something that's going on भनेर. I do relate to that as well in some level, हैन? So यो भन्दाखेरि पनि अब when we come to talking about sustaining practices and sustainability and environment itself, a lot of time like we also go through the relationship of women and environment and sustainability or sustaining practices, right? So how do you see as the relationship between these two?
I think so. I think so. Women have been in the forefront of sustaining practices and sustainable practices because it's we've been homemakers, like for years and years and years, because of also patriarchy, of how patriarchy works and pitri sattale garda pani ho, हैन? अनि so त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ women have had a very close relationship प्रकृतिसँग with nature, okay? And with that has also come its own price of like women facing the forefront of first climate change हुने बेलामा को the women are affected the most, हैन? Because women are in that forefront अहिले पनि, okay? So त्यही कारणले गर्दा चाहिँ I feel like that's how the close relationship between gender मा कुरा गर्ने बेलामा पनि, I think so women and nature and climate and sustainability are very interconnected and very closely related. त्यो मात्र नभएर चाहिँ अब स्किल बेस्डमा ट्रेनिङहरु गर्ने बेलामा पनि वुमेनहरु नै हुन्छ, हैन? अब कपडा सिलाउनेमा होस्, बुन्नेमा होस्, it's women always, हैन? अनि प्रोडक्सनमा हेर्ने हो भने बिग प्रोडक्सनमा हेर्ने पनि it's always women who are working in factories, and also they have kids, and also they are managing finances, and also so it's a whole environment. It's a designed environment where women are the core of it, of sustainability, but again are not the core of it as well, because when decision making ko kura aउँछ, when policy ko kura aउँछ, women ko लागि equal rights ko लागि आउँछ, sustainability ko kura aउँछ, and then we hardly see women in the forefront. We always see men to making the decisions, or hardly ever women coming in the forefront. Only I think after the pandemic and during the pandemic, a lot of voices have come forefront. But women have been in the forefront of हामीले data नै हेर्यो भने पनि, like Eco-sathi, like environmentally friendly brands are run by women, right? At the end of the day, most of it is run by women, and environment protest women, so I think the women are there. I wouldn't say it's like we're genetically banda, but it's more like we've been placed in that position, in that design of things, okay? If we're already there, then we might as well be a part of the decision making, okay? And policy changes are so especially sustainability. So I think so that's a very interrelated relationship between women and nature and sustainability.
So you be saying also, if I would like to add, when we are trying to do this live conversation to inspire and educate more about sustainability to our followers, I say male faces are finding only hard, and it's like a story like just say who's there, and then when we search it, we like kind of have some difficulty, but it's not that there's not, but it's mostly women, and I think that place and that table needs to be there for them as well, to hear them and to be more louder. So you could have to know or learn more about Haushala Creative itself, so getting to know more better of Haushala Creatives. Or say actually say about Haushala Creatives, repairing more focus. So what other services or what more services like Haushala Creatives is doing at the moment?
So Earlier, Haushala Creatives चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ as a brand as well, we're doing a lot of consulting as well for other brands को लागि, corporates को लागि पनि हामीले how to become, more friendly, how do you put gender economics into your brands, and how can you as a company to support other women brands, or not just that, but ethical businesses कसरी support गर्न सक्छ, किनभने and advocacy मा गइरहेको छ. So हामीले repairing पनि गर्छौँ, हामीले private repairing गर्छौँ. Anybody can drop off their clothes हाम्रो drop in center मा, अनि we repair their clothes. हामी we do study hall हरू गर्छ हामी, जहाँ चाहिँ हामीले materials, new textbooks लिएर आउँछौँ, and we introduce them to a circle of people, and then we do reading sessions अनि योहरू चाहिँ अब like you pay for it and you join, किन we have to also survive as a brand. And we do also company we do consultations for them as well, because Haushala Creatives, we are trying to actively play a role where to make people more aware of their choices in companies to organizations of where you buy things from. Okay, we see that people like we have UN goals, amazing UN goals. Oh wow, it's great, it's colorful, it's amazing, we don't shy away to talk about these things. I think so that's the reason why our brand is known to be a little bit more radical sometimes, but we're proud of it. We're proud of that.
That's really a bit funny.
But people have these UN goals and people do all these things, and then at the end of the day, their bags are made by these bigger corporate companies who don't know how much they're paying their workers or where their bags are coming from. You don't know, but then you are talking about sustainability, so how does this make sense? You have these big conferences, and maybe you can buy the stationery from a small women's brand, business. You can buy bags, or you can order bags, not just from Haushala Creatives, but from Eco-sathi, or there are so many other brands, who are working directly with women, who are working directly with environment and advocating for it. So this is the conscious choices बनाउनु पर्छ corporate houses organizations भने चाहिँ त्यसमा चाहिँ हामी एकदमै consultations मा पनि जान्छौँ, lobbying पनि गर्छौँ यस्तो कुराहरुलाई चाहिँ in local level देखि लिएर हैन. So that's what Haushala Creative does. Besides being a repair brand पनि हामी चाहिँ advocacy मा level मा पनि जान्छौँ, किनभने त्यो level मा भएन भने चाहिँ we're just talking about things and we're not really doing anything, So I think so that's the bigger picture of sharing your economy, sharing your wealth, distribution of wealth चाहिँ proper हुनु पर्यो कि sustainability को कुरा गर्ने हामी हो भने चाहिँ, किनभने if it's going to a bigger corporate house who's making 10,000 bags every day, then it doesn't make sense, and it was making plastic bottles, 100,000 plastic bottles every week, but your brand or your event can support a smaller brand, and even it makes a difference. But I'm just want to advocate also.
Wow. I really never thought that kind of perspectively, right? It really hits me, because your conference and then the sustainable development goals by 2030 or something, that colorful things you said is truly I've been to some of the conference, and I feel like they're doing the non-veg, meat-based meals and the products, the kits to provide, and there are plastic things that they are using, and then we are there on the table talking about sustainability. It's such a ironical thing and hypocritical, and then it really does not leave anyone on the main table. Okay, everyone is there for that. True.
Exactly.
So yeah. So, हजुरले you repairing and advocacy कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ, and you also talk about whom you are facilitating, हैन, about consumers, हजुरको consumers where are they mainly based, or mainly are they in Nepal itself, or do they come from other places around the world?
So, Haushala Creatives, we've had client base Kathmandu, भन्दा पनि Kathmandu बाहिरको. We have a lot of client base in Chitwan, Butwal, Lumbini side, अनि बनेपा side as well. पहिला हामी productsहरु बनाउने बेलामा चाहिँ, अहिले चाहिँ हामीले productsहरु बनाएको छैन. So हाम्रो clientहरु चाहिँ पहिलादेखि नै यो काठमाडौँ बाहिर बेसको एरियामा पनि छ, प्लस हाम्रो नेपाल बाहिर पनि हामी सेल गर्छौं. तर once हामीले चाहिँ यो सामानहरु बनाउन छोड्यौं त हामीले नयाँ सामान अब हामी नबनाउने भनेर हामीले एउटा ब्रान्डको कन्सियस डिसिजन लियो. which is not easy for us a brand and also for our workers to survive. हाम्रो मेकर्सहरूलाई तर when we went into repairing चाहिँ रिपेयरिङमा चाहिँ हाम्रो अहिले काठमाडौँ बेस हाम्रो कम्युनिटी साथीहरू नै आउनुहुन्छ जोइन गर्नुहुन्छ अनि त्यसबाहेक चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ के भयो भने अहिले हामीले यो we've been this brand for since 2013 देखि नै so we have very loyal community people the community supportersहरू हुनुहुन्छ who support us for our initiatives like हामी repair गर्दैछौँ भने they contribute to do that event. So we have collective support अहिले अनि client भन्ने बेलामा चाहिँ हाम्रो client अहिले currently चाहिँ हाम्रो repair को client चाहिँ is based inside काठमाडौँ नै छ काठमाडौँ बाहिरको चाहिँ भएको छैन तर हाम्रो clientele in the past चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ outside of Nepal and outside काठमाडौँ नै छ तर hopefully अब हामीले चाहिँ हामीले अहिले repairing few brands को लागि पनि गरिरहेको छौं जस्तै अब for example Eco-sathi, you know, we can be partners to repair for your brand, you know, and so to repair your items that you sell. So हामी त्यसरी चाहिँ दुई तीनवटा कम्पनीजहरुसँग चाहिँ हामी पार्टनर गरेर चाहिँ रिपेयरिङ गरिरहेको छौं.
I think it will be also wonderful to collaborate your matter पनि हैन and I will let that to know our founder as well. So Haushala like your products are when we are talking about like what are the platforms is it only online based or will you go for a physical event funny how is it reaching to the consumers
so Haushala को अहिले product नै छैन भनौं न we don't have हामीसँग पुरानो past products मात्र छ so पहिला हाम्रो हुने बेलामा चाहिँ we were on our website we have an international website थियो so we had international deliveries हरु थियो अनि नेपाल बेस मा चाहिँ we were always situated as a झम्सीखेलमा हाम्रो थियो and plus we were doing deliveries त्यो बेलामा त डेलिभरी सर्भिसेसहरु पनि थिएन अहिले जस्तै भनौं न हामी आफ्नै डेलिभर नै गर्न जान्थ्यौं अहिले सर्भिसेसहरु थिएन अनि हामी केटीएम कोरियर्स भनेर एउटा सर्भिसिङ ब्रान्ड युज गर्थ्यौं we used to use cycles and two wheelers युज गर्थ्यौं I think they were one of the first brands to do this deliveries हरु so हाम्रो चाहिँ अहिले चाहिँ we don't have any products at any shops here तर we are based in बकुन्डोलको हाम्रो Haushala को स्पेस छ वर्क स्पेस छ सानो वर्क स्पेस छ हाम्रो आफ्नै घरमा and the workspace until we do repairing so every Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a drop off and that's a repairing.
Okay, so that's very nice to know as well. I mean, also like you're also the like workshop curator and creative educator yourself, and you create this workshop that I came to know about like repair, redesign, and reconnect. So could you please tell a bit about that? And when I study, I feel like okay, so you're connecting on a different level, and it also touched me. Like, I never thought in that way. So could you please tell that to our viewers about the workshop?
So I'm a workshop curator and a facilitator as well. And I am a creative educator, not by professional, not because I studied something like that, but creative because of the boundaries. The kids that I support for education, materials, education materials, easily accessible. I was bound to be a creative educator, okay? Not because I studied this, because situation I got a creative. So this kind of I call myself that. So workshop facilitators, I design workshops that are like repair, reconnect, or redesign to channel. So you think that repair, reconnect, redesign tab. Let's say you have a 5-year school module one apple, Haushala creative school. That's a reconnecting is reconnecting back with nature, back with culture, back with traditions, and redesign. We have to also look towards the future of what the future holds. So it's about futuristic designs as well that works for the coming world that we are stepping into as well. So repair, reconnect, redesign is our Haushala 3 brand ethos for the next 5 years. So we'll probably be done in like 2026 months. We want to incorporate not just Haushala repairing or advocacy, educational modules or workshop styles incorporate. So basically Haushala reconnect we reconnect to our roots, to our culture, to traditions as well, with Haushala Creatives as a brand, collaborating with other brands. So brands or individuals and so we are open to curate workshops together, which can benefit financially, intellectually as well, for the collaborating person as well.
I think that's very interesting. So your 5 years program house, Razi, does that also include the global swap that you?
Also, Global Swap, so we are the Global Fashion Exchange one. It's an international global fashion exchange movement started by Patrick Duffy. अनि हामी चाहिँ नेपालको ambassadors पनि हो र we have been holding the flag for GFX, Global Fashion Exchange. अनि हामी चाहिँ Global Swap भन्ने गर्छौँ. यो चाहिँ कपडा साटासाट गर्ने कार्यक्रम हो जहाँ चाहिँ हामीले किन कपडा नयाँ किन्ने जब हामी साट्न सक्छौँ भनेर. I think so we started this in end of 2016 मा सुरु गर्यौँ. Ani 17 early 17 man. So we were the first brands to do swap and to encourage people to thrift and to second hand. There was a lot of stigma. And I think so we were the first pioneers, and I wouldn't shy away to say this. I think so we were one of the first pioneers to start that. And although we see thrift culture and second hand culture grow in Nepal, which is good in its own way, but it's also scary because there's advocacy money. I think so awareness money workers' rights ko barema, environmental rights ko barema पनि कुरा नभइकन only as a consumer based मात्र गरे भने चाहिँ it never solves the problem. So we do global swaps. Global swaps भनेको चाहिँ we try to do 3 times a year. It's seasonal based now, and we'll be doing one in May as well, and we have something very interesting in store in May for the global swap.
I'm just converting my design very much because I always wanted to participate in the university. So I could never then be in Kathmandu and do that. So this is like the 8th one, eh?
Oh, so this is the 8th one. I think this is going to be the 9th or the 8th one because हामी चाहिँ एउटा पोखरामा पनि गर्यौं. So पोखरामा पनि हामीले global swap गर्यौं. So anybody can do the swap if they contact us. अनि हुन्छ नि, you can do it in Chitwan, you can do it in Panepa, Butol, Nepal राज्यभरि नै गर्न सकिन्छ. You just have to contact us as a brand and as an individual if you're interested to hold our brand flag in your region. Then we will help you, we'll educate you, we'll give you the time, we'll share our knowledge of how to do it properly. कसरी राम्रोसँग गर्ने. So हामी तपाईहरु सबै tools share गर्छौं. And it's यो पैसा कमाउनलाई चाहिँ गर्नु, this is not a money making thing, at the end of the day. So that's the reason not a lot of people are interested. But this is about bringing collectors, bringing community together without exchange of monetary values. Okay? So slowly अब हाम्रो global swap, we have to go into a membership मा जानुपर्छ हामी चाहिँ Haushala Kathmandu चाहिँ, किनभने we have to also survive as a brand. So this kind of, but I think we're going into that, but it can be done anywhere if you get in touch with us.
Wow. So adding on that, Haushala Creatives is also the first one to create the first women co-working spaces. So yes, there are so many things that Haushala Creatives done, and to do that in 30 minutes live is not doing any justice for them. But then also it would give a little.
That is true. I think we've started a lot of things in a very interesting time when Kathmandu wasn't ready. Kathmandu was not ready for a lot of things that we started in 2016. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, handicrafts it was never in that fun and really like young people weren't really into it. It was more like older generation expats but not really Nepali manchester interested with it. I think so that's when we started crochet, knitting, we brought a little of fun and everything. And when we knew that our makers are all women, on this we saw that a lot of women were working after hours. Till 9 o'clock. And cafes are work culture 2016-15. So we thought, okay, why not open a women's co-working space where it's only for women, right? And it was very idealistic. We used to open till 10 p.m. And so women would work, and they would love the space, and we would be there, and we had our dogs, and we had all of us, being there. And it was a very lovely thing. We would say Kathmandu wasn't ready. And then 2018, we were doing very good. 2018 picked up. Then COVID and financial to maintain the space. So we have a very small collective space, but now we're not just for women, it's for everybody. it's open, the co-working space, but you have to priorly book like 1 week ahead. किनभने हाम्रो prior booksहरू booking भइसकेको हुन्छ अनि हामी चाहिँ only we can only host 4 जना मान्छेलाई के total in our co-working space. किनभने पहिला चाहिँ we could host 20 people, or it's only 4 people because we've shifted in a smaller space. So it's a very interesting space, you know. हाम्रो पहिलादेखिको अहिलेसम्म co-working space, some people who started off with us have done really good. Like the Record Nepal started with us in our co-working space. Vow Media started with our co-working space, you know. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and we're really happy that we could host these amazing organizations and collaborations, you know, and now have gone into becoming bigger things. And even Tuto was with us, and it was, you know, we posted some really interesting people. So, but yeah, we couldn't continue in a large scale. But I think so it's also the beauty of Haushala Creative is we don't want to be in that bigger, large scale. We always want to be community based. We want to be small, manageable, and we want to know the people that we work with.
Wow, I think when you said like Kathmandu wasn't ready for that, I think it was really true. You know, the idea of like, oh, like having your own space, working space. These are all things about, you know, global swapping or let's say thrifting. It's just अहिले भनौँ पेसो भएछ अब इभन थ्रिफ्टिङ कुरा गर्दाखेरि त घरमा त लाइक अरूले लाउने भन्ने पनि भन्छ नि त कुराहरू सो आई थिङ्क यु आर मच मोर अहेड अफ द इयर्स द्याट काठमाडौँ हुन्छ नि वुड बी अपियरिङ द नेक्स्ट भने जस्तो द्याट्स अ भेरी वाइड vision at that time and I think that hats off for that for starting that off too. So when we are like coming to the end of the conversation, I'll turn on the comment section. So conclude we know Haushala creatives have done a lot of things in the past and since 2013. So could you please let us know the impacts of Haushala creatives in people's life in terms of everything that it has been doing so far?
I think so. We've done a lot of really direct grassroots level impacts around Haushala Creative say as a brand we have you know supported Rising Cricket for Nepal in 2018 for a cricket tournament entirely for a women's cricket tournament, and we supported women's cricket club like support Chitwanko women's cricket club like from our profits. So that's how we supported and we donated we supported with 1 lakh rupees. And then we supported women in STEM movement, women in STEM. There were 2 girls who had started from Haushala Foundation, but we supported them with monetary support from Haushala Creators to the co-working space with, I think it was about like 3 lakh rupees. It was in 2017. And, you know, and we've always been very passionate about supporting women initiatives. If we are doing good as a brand, then we want to support other women brands or like as much as possible. So these are the impacts that we've done. And I think so over the years, we've built a human behavior change. We've done more, where we have like women's event or change over the years. I think so we were the first brands to do or celebrating unconventional women, where we had disability, women with disabilities, queer women, trans man, and we had 5 speakers, and now they've gone into another like level of change makers. So we've done really little things that we can do. And I think so. Then other things that collectives of came and carried on that legacy of the work that we sort of left, and then people carried on to that and became better things at bigger scale along by all brands, they all individuals, which is great. I think so. At the end of this, healthy competition, toxic competition, we have to always support as much as possible. And also recognize people who've been in that industry for a while. So I think that's the impact that Haushala Creative has done is just sustainability. Like we've tried to make it more fun, not make it elitist. Sustainability भन्ने बित्तिकै मान्छेले के सोच्छ नि एकदमै महँगो सामान किन्नुपर्छ हैन अब बुटिकमा जानुपर्छ हैन अथवा कटनको लिनेनको एकदमै महँगो सामान लगाउनु पर्छ भनेर मान्छे सोच्छ नि त सस्टेनेबल हुनुलाई किनभने त्यही तरिकाको वेस्टर्नाइजेसन भएको छ नि त सस्टेनेबिलिटी चाहिँ एकदमै धनी मान्छेले सक्छ तर होइन त्यो होइन सस्टेनेबिलिटी भनेको फर एभ्रिबडी शुड ह्याभ द एक्सेस टु सस्टेनेबिलिटी लुगा साटेर हुन्छ सेकेन्ड ह्यान्ड किनेर हुन्छ आफूले आफूलाई एजुकेट गरेर हुन्छ अनलाइन अबाउट सेकेन्ड ह्यान्ड कल्चर सेकेन्ड ह्यान्ड सबै पनि राम्रो हुँदैन स्वाप सबै पनि राम्रो हुँदैन होइन सो just like त्यसरी चाहिँ I think so we've made a lot of difference in educating people, human behavior change matter. And I think so the last thing I would like to say is like making sustainability accessible to everybody is what Harsha Creatives has done over the years, and not just making it elitist matter. It's for everyone. And I think so that's where we always want to be, where it's accessible. Sir.
I think, and especially like when I say that question, ask that question, is very not justifiable to ask like what impact. There's so much more, and that cannot be like said or described in like less than 2 minutes, right? There's more additional things that we have learned from Haushala Creative itself, from advocacy to education to supporting youth education and gender equality, and not just women, but some people representing as women itself. So there's so much things that Haushala Creatives has been offering. And when saying that, where do you see yourself or, with Haushala Creatives in the coming future? We are very excited to know that as well.
I think so, Haushala Creatives, we are a very, we're a fun brand, we're also a very radical brand. I think so. And that's why sometimes we get on the wrong footings with people because they don't like what we say sometimes. Because the corporates are like, it can be very difficult for them to digest what we say and what we do as well. As a brand maker, we're very there. I think so. Haushala Creatives, where we see is Haushala Creatives was a community. It's been growing, especially pandemic ma. When we thought about closing the brand entirely, we had emailed, messaged all our closest, client, friends, or that message. Everybody messaged us and said that don't close this. This will be a disaster. Don't do this. You're one of the little fine advocacy brands who don't just talk about selling their brands, but they promote other promote let's come together as a community. We were able to survive together as a community in the pandemic. And where we see our brand in the future is more as a community brand, as a collective, not as just like Haushala Creatives wanted, as Haushala as a person, as a collective, as a community. And taking the flag further into their regions and in their locality. So that's where we see Haushala Creatives as, and collaborating with other ethical, amazing brands who are on the same page as we are. Because we believe that, Haushala Creatives believe that consumerism, let's say, creates this idea of I'm not enough. Okay? And waste culture create because you feel that you have to buy more materialist wealth to create, to hoard, so that you can feel worthy of something. And we want to break that. Haushala Creative is not a consumer brand. We're more of like living life in this perspective of knowing that you have enough. So I think so that's where we see our brand as. And we want to see more people joining our community, our collective, and making sustainability accessible to everybody, and not just an elite topic, not just about in all these like big fancy conferences. It's needed; those things are needed, but it's also deep rooted of how you started and why you started and what sustainability means. So that's where we see our brand in the next 5 years is also advocacy and with repairing, but also collaborating and working with other amazing brands as well.
So it's more like about like the soul to the sustainability. Okay? We're talking about conservation and everything. Okay, look, the product is that, this and this. This is more eco-friendly. This is more climate-friendly. But the main idea of where it comes from, what it comes from. So Haushala Creatives is there. That's really motivating as well. So when you're talking about the community level mapping, has there been, I'm very curious to know, has there been any collaboration with the government itself, the policy level? Has there been any supports in the last years?
So we haven't worked with the government, but we have sat with like conversations, discussions, and meetings on influencing policy. Like where we are talking about like Nepali उद्यमीहरूलाई कसरी सहयोग गर्ने, कसरी सहयोग गर्न सकिन्छ, नेपालको कल्चर ट्रेडिसनलाई हामीले कसरी बचाउन सकिन्छ, इन्डिजिनियस प्र्याक्टिसेस र नलेजेसहरूलाई हामीले कसरी चाहिँ अगाडि ल्याउन सकिन्छ र त्यसलाई चाहिँ अब भनौँ न गभर्मेन्टको कति धेरै प्रोग्राम्सहरू हुन्छ एभ्री इयर कन्फरेन्सेसहरू हुन्छ इन्टरनेसनल प्रोग्राम्सहरू हुन्छ नेसनल प्रोग्राम्सहरू हुन्छ त्यसमा हामीले नेपाली प्रडक्टहरू किन युज नगर्ने नेपाली ब्रान्ड्सहरूलाई किन प्रमोट नगर्ने भने त्यस्तो खालको इन्फ्लुएन्सिङमा चाहिँ हामी छौँ भनौँ न वी टक टु पिपल द्याट आर इन द प्लेस अफ द्याट प्रिभिलेज एन्ड द्याट पावर टु मेक द्याट have that conversation in that table. So हामी त्यसमा चाहिँ छौँ किनभने चाहिँ we believe that गभर्मेन्टको कति धेरै कन्फरेन्सेसहरू हुन्छ गभर्मेन्टको कति धेरै शाखाहरू छन् यो शाखाहरूमा हामीले मेड इन नेपाल प्रोडक्ट्सहरू युज गर्यो भने अथवा हामीले इको फ्रेन्डली ब्रान्ड्सहरू मात्र नभएर हामी इको फ्रेन्डली ब्रान्ड्सहरू जसले चाहिँ सोसल मिसन पनि छ उनीहरूको who are also supporting community at the end of the day प्राइभेटली मात्र होइन कि सोसल मिसन्स पनि छ उनीहरूलाई पनि कसरी प्राथमिकता दिन्छौँ भने चाहिँ त्यसमा चाहिँ हामीले इन्फ्लुएन्सिङ लेभल अफ द पोलिसीमा चाहिँ यस वी हेभ ह्याड अ कन्भर्सेसन बट वी नेभर हामी डिरेक्टली चाहिँ काम चाहिँ गरेको छैनौँ तर हौसला क्रिएटिभ्सको हाम्रो ट्रेनर हुनुहुन्थ्यो जो हेड टिचर चाहिँ पहिला उहाँ चाहिँ सी वान द लोकल इलेक्सन लास्ट टाइमको लोकल इलेक्सन जितेर चाहिँ सी बिकेम दि भाइस chairman for her village in Gotikhel in Lalitpur. So she became vice chairman, chairwoman for her community. So I think so we have हामीसँग आउने मेकर्सहरूलाई पनि हामीले उहाँहरूलाई politically aware देखि लिएर educationally पनि देखि लिएर aware चाहिँ गर्छौँ. They are not just makers; they are people at the end of the day, and that's where we work.
I think more than from the policy and the government level itself. So when we're talking about, so we do have questions, Haushala, if we could take it. Monozi is also saying, Haushala, if any of the products, especially tote bag, gets broken, can we mend it through Haushala Creatives?
Yes, definitely. It would be, we can be your repairing partners for Eco-sathi to repair your tote bags. Sorry, just to put this in, like, हामीले tote bags are the most sustainable material, it's cotton, right? But we have to understand that sustainability को कुरा गर्ने बेलामा plastic sustainable कि tote bag sustainable भनेर हामी हेर्ने बेलामा of course tote bag is sustainable भनेर हामी हेर्छौँ नि we see that tote bag is sustainable material but plastic actually if you look at it material को हिसाबमा हेर्नु the plastic as is never meant to be broken it's meant to last forever so sustainable actually plastic is a sustainable material but it's not sustainable because we overproduced it. We didn't think of the end of the life of the plastic. We didn't have recycling factory set up or places set up. So it became unsustainable plastic. So plastic and most of your plastic containers the plastic container मैले 10-20 वर्षमा राख्ने त्यो पनि sustainable भयो नि at the end of the day, right? So plastic like हामीले एकदमै त्यो villainize गर्छौँ नि we have to think about these things when we do these things. So there are tote bag these are tote bags because I go to every conference and every conference gives me a tote bag each. Is it sustainable? We have to think about it, so repairing, mending, redesign and this is where we can work with brands, we can consult with brands. So this is I'm
So यसमा याद गर्दाखेरि मोनोकाकेजीको अर्को पनि क्वेसन थियो हैन I cannot find but I do remember it उहाँले त्यो सोध्नु भएको थियो how can we join the women I mean like the general co-working spaces भन्ने भएको छ
Yeah, so you can just if you book us a week ahead तपाईले हामीलाई खबर गरेर बुक गर्नुभयो चाहिँ you can book our space and then it's open अहिले चाहिँ we are booked till the end of April we are booked but if you let us know message us on Haushala Creatives को Instagram मा if you message us or on Facebook गर्नुभयो भने चाहिँ then we can give you a timing and our links as well.
Okay, just not to forget another question she had and she idolizes you so much Mona Didi I just had to say She was like, we will be very cautious about this one. Like heads up another question she asks is how can we support the children and youth first organization yeah,
So you can support in many ways, but the most important way that you can support is always sharing about the work that we do. And there are ways that people monetary ले मात्र donate गरेर it's not helpful मात्र भन्दिनँ के म material donate पनि गर्न सकिन्छ होइन materials we are always calling out for things like toothpaste and soaps and things for our kids and you can donate those things you can share about the work that we do you can come and do workshops here if you send us your plan about recycling workshops गर्नुमा चाहिँ तपाईले यहाँको युवा युवतीहरुलाई लिएर किशोर किशोरीहरुलाई workshops दिन सकिन्छ तपाईले टिचर्सहरुलाई दिन सकिन्छ so there are various ways that you can support CYF Nepal and we are always looking for support in one way or the other so if there's any way and if we have an idea we can always bounce on each other and like we can see how we can work together.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. So coming to we have to be very conscious about time as well, but I am just listening to you and then going on and on. So sorry about that. Adding to that question, can you hear me, Haushala? Or is there?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, yeah, I can.
Okay. So since you have you said the Haushala Creative Center, it's what's the question? In your experience, if there were three things that you wished before, having this sustaining brand, what would it be? Okay.
Three things if I knew before starting the brand. Yeah. Well, I wish I knew that the sustainability idea was more very westernized. When Thapa ko bhaye chai राम्रो हुन्थ्यो होला. एकदमै westernized अनि काठमाडौँ especially काठमाडौँको market चाहिँ extremely sustainability को कुरामा एकदमै westernized छ भनेर थाहा पाएको भए चाहिँ सजिलो हुन्थ्यो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई किनभने चाहिँ जब हामी पनि sustainability कुरा गर्न थाल्यौ त्यो चाहिँ एकदमै expat levelमा मात्र थियो एकदमै high class level एकदमै elite cultureमा मात्र थियो के अनि त्यो थाहा पाएर चाहिँ अलिकति गाह्रो भएको थियो किनभने चाहिँ that is something that our brand didn't really relate with किनभने हामीले चाहिँ भने नि accessibility को कुरा हो हाम्रो brand भनेको accessible हुनुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा थियो त्यो एउटा कुरा अनि अर्को कुरा चाहिँ is like I wish organizations and corporate companies and all of them understood more about sustainability with community sustainability with a social mission भन्ने कुराहरु को बारेमा उहाँहरु अवेयर भएको भए चाहिँ हामीलाई अझै सजिलो हुन्थ्यो होला हामी चाहिँ ब्रान्डहरु सर्भाइभ गर्नदेखि लिएर काम गर्ने भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ अनि the third thing would be I don't know I wish there were more हामी जस्तै initiatives back in the day in 2016 2015 मा भएको भए चाहिँ I think so we would have all come together as a collective आउन सक्थ्यो होला अहिले पनि आउन सकिन्छ तर काठमाडौँको हाम्रो कल्चरमा चाहिँ यहाँ काठमाडौँ कल्चर इज भेरी कम्पिटिटिभ के कसैले सेम कुरा गरे पनि यसले किन गरेको भनेर सोच्ने हैन भनौं न यसले किन यो कम्पिटिसन भयो भनेर सोच्ने एकअर्कालाई and I wish that wasn't there and I wish there was more like a feeling of coordination collaboration from how can we work together भनेर खालको सोचाइ भयो भने चाहिँ अझै काम गर्न अझै रमाइलो हुन्थ्यो होला जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई these three things if I knew before किनभने यहाँ चाहिँ एकदमै toxic competition को environment छ के अनि त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ it can be very demotivating sometimes but I think so that's changing slow by the day and by the years it's changing slowly.
Fully. So you could have add like there are lots of youths at the moment who are having or who are very motivated to start their own venture and on sustainability but might not have the sufficient budget or the capital to start it. So let's say how would you give an idea of where to start and then what would be best to do?
I think so, म चाहिँ के भन्छु नि you young people I wish somebody said this to me that there are things that are already existing in our culture in our communities that are sustainable. Okay? So if you can look into those things and promote those things without exploiting the culture, okay? Without exploiting the community and the culture, you know. And if you can work into bringing this into limelight, if you can always be, as a young person, मलाई चाहिँ के लाग्छ भने म पनि त्यस्तै थिएँ कि यङ हुने बेलामा ओ दिस इज माई आइडिया, म कसैको सुन्नु पर्ने जस्तो इम्पोर्टेन्ट लाग्दैन भनेर मलाई लाग्थ्यो होइन. तर अहिले सोच्ने बेलामा आई विश आई ह्याड अ मेन्टर जस्तो लाग्छ कि मलाई. I wish there was somebody to mentor me when I was 22 years old, 23 years old. You know, I was 23, now I'm 36. But I wish there was somebody to mentor me when I was 26, 27, 22, 22. I didn't really have good mentors. Only, that was one of the lacks. So I feel like अबको environment for young people, mentors हुनुहुन्छ. कतिवटा mentors जसले चाहिँ स्क्रैचबाट सुरु गर्नु भएको छ, family wealth बिना, generational wealth बिना सुरु गर्नु भएको छ उहाँहरूले. गर्नु भएको छ अनि उहाँहरूबाट how can we take mentorships, mentoring गर्नु. Financial education is very important when you start a brand. Financial education is extremely important. त्यसमा तपाईले कसैलाई mentors राख्न सक्नुहुन्छ, कसैको help माग्न सक्नुहुन्छ. There are so many organizations आजकल leadershipमा काम गरिरहनु हुन्छ, entrepreneurमा काम गरिरहनु भएको छ. So उनीहरुसँग तपाईले mentorshipको लागि कुरा गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ कि who people that who can be mentors. So young people लाई चाहिँ म त्यही encourage गर्छु to don't shy away to tell somebody that you don't know something. You know, you might be a little brand, small brand, होला तपाई, but you know, or सबै केही सुरु गर्न खोजिरहनु तपाईलाई केही थाहा छैन होला भने त्यो सोध्न नडराउनुस् के. मसँग पैसै छैन भन्न पनि नडराउनुस् हैन, किनभने लाइक मसँग पैसा छैन तर मेरो यो आइडिया छ. How can I, you know, how can I bring economical value to this idea? भन्छु सोध्न नडराउनुस्. किनभने चाहिँ हामी युजुअली डराउँछौँ यस्तो कुराहरुमा. अनि किनभने हामी आफै नै as Haushala as a brand नै हामी सुरु गर्ने बेलामा we didn't know a lot of things, you know, but we didn't have mentors, yeah, because people thought that we knew things, but we didn't know things, you know. And I wish we had mentors, because if we did, then maybe we would have got the challenges. So as a young person, I would advise everybody, like, if you have mentors, go for it. Don't feel afraid to ask for advices, to ask for suggestions. And critical comments बाट नडराउनुस् भन्छु कि. कसैले तपाईको ब्रान्डलाई क्रिटिकली कमेन्ट गर्यो रे, कसैले तपाईको आइडेन्टिटीलाई क्रिटिकली कमेन्ट पनि गर्यो भने त्यो सुन्न पनि नडराउनुस्, you know. But also like evaluate गर्न पनि इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ के. So that's what I would say. I mean, as a person, as an individual, and as a brand as well.
Wow, I think that was really good points on like having a mentor and, you know, everything that you said, because it's very important to look up to someone as well, I know, and have that guidance when nothing seems to like, oh, am I going there or not? So yeah, very important thing. So Haushala, I'm very also curious to know, you know, we have almost come to the end. I'm so sorry that I bought half an hour more.
It's okay, yeah.
So you भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ like तपाईले चाहिँ you said that you were very inspired about sustaining through the fashion itself, right? In your daily life at the moment, what are other sustainable sustaining practices to keep it right that you do or you in your daily life?
So I like my sustaining practices because I make sure that I don't wash my clothes too much. I'll be very honest. म कपडा सकेसम्म त्यसलाई हुन्छ नि मैला नहुँदासम्म लगाउँछु नै हैन. क्लोथिङमा पनि मेरो हैन, म एकदमै लाइक आई ट्राई टु युज एज मच. अनि त्यस बाहेक मेरो डे टु डे भनेको अब I feel like I try to use less plastic bottles as much as I can. As much as I can. तर कोही बेला सकिदैन. त्यो मिटिङमा जाने कतै जाने बेलामा you end up having a plastic bottle in front of you in a panel discussion. So you can't. This बाहेक पनि मेरो sustaining practices भनेको चाहिँ I just मेरो sustaining practice भनेको चाहिँ like I think so rest is very important as a person. I think so resting गर्नु भनेको पनि to slow down. Okay? To slow down is also a sustainable practice because we are where we are as consumers, as a planet, as people, because we're rushing for everything. Like, okay, that's next thing. What's next? So my practice is slowing down. I really like culture of slowing down. It's something that I practice every day. and not putting myself in constant rush that I have to reach somewhere, I have to get something, I have to do this. Constant packing my schedule with, I used to do that, and I went through a mental breakdown and a burnout in my life. And I will tell you, there was nobody to mentor to say that stop, you got to slow down. So, and I had to go through this whole thing, and I'm glad that I had my friends for that. But, slowing down, I love the culture of go slow. Some things can always wait. And for me, that's my sustainable practice that I practice every day is as I'm just going to have 3 things or 4 things in a day, and I'm going to finish my job from 9 to this. And when I go home, I'm going to clear it out and not do anything.
I think that's really a innovative way of thinking. It can be included in sustaining practices. But all of time, we always have this subconsciously fast. Everything is as if something is getting behind.
I know.
So that thing also, yeah.
Yeah.
True. And then taking the time and moment to be there, and then absorbing and pausing for a while. I think that is another practice that is really needed. So त्यो भन्दाखेरि नै so we are almost at the end. We have some good questions as well. So do you have any messages? You do have a lot of messages, Haushala ji, but and it cannot be justified in that this live session, of course. But what would be your message to our viewers from Eco-sathi Nepal or anyone who is watching us?
So my message to you on I read this from Sylvia Winter 2000 Sylvia Winter theorist 2003 she had warned about global warming and climate change 2003 okay. And this is something that it's a very simple thing that but if we think about it, it is 20% of the world's population owns 80% of the resources in the world and 2/3 of the food. Okay? And that 20% is responsible for 75% of the ongoing pollution. 20% of the world population owns 80% of the resources in the world and 2/3 of the food, and are responsible for 75% of the ongoing pollution in the world. So, message we cannot be a purist world but individual actions are important, yes, but I would always say that holding corporates and companies accountable for the global waste, for pollution, for climate change is very important. Okay, climate matter and gender, everything, and where corporates and people and companies who have just made and thrown things without thinking about the end of the life of that certain thing should be held responsible for their actions, those companies. Because why should only individuals be okay, I'm gonna not carry plastic bottle, I'm doing my small effort, but then when you look at the world, it's bad, But you as an individual, you're not the only responsible one. Okay? The corporates are the responsible ones, and to hold them accountable is, I think if we do it all collectively, changes can happen. Okay? So that's what I would like to tell people, that don't be disheartened with the world that we're stepping into or the world that we are in now, because it can be very disheartening looking at the river, ocean, road, air pollution, human exploitation of labor, it can be very, very disheartening. But also know that as an individual, what you're doing a little bit is also fine, and but holding these corporates and companies accountable is always something that has to be collectively as well.
Wow. Yeah, in fact, that's a very body thing at the end of the conversation about today's live. I think that should be and must be noted by all the people. And at the end of the thing, it's a very collective effort, and we should not be disheartened, because of that there needs to be work, and there needs to be effort that can be put, and that also is not a good motivation, but that there is it says that we have work to do. So thank you so much, Haushala ji. I really appreciate it this whole 1 hour and more than that, I've been like, all ears. And I apologize for going beyond 30 minutes. I'm so sorry for that. And then hearing from you, researching about you and Haushala Creatives has been a pleasure to me, and knowing more about itself. So thank you so much for the opportunity. We at Ecosathi Nepal are very much, like very, very grateful for this opportunity that you have given to us to know Haushala Creatives and you yourself.
Thank you, Hima, so much. धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद इको साथीको परिवारलाई कम्युनिटीलाई पनि मलाई इन्भाइट गरिदिनु भएकोमा र थोरै दुई तीनवटा शब्द भन्नु दिनु भएकोमा पनि थ्याङ्क यू धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद. Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure talking with you. And I know you can't wrap everything in 30 minutes, an hour, but I'm happy to do that. And thank you so much. And thank you, Hima, and thank you, Ecosathi family, for inviting me, and Haushala Creatives family as well.
Thank you, Osman. So on that note, we will say goodbye, and I hope to see more collaboration between us as well, and then in the future. So thank you so much for that.
Bye. Thank you all. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay. Bye, Haushalaji. Okay. So, wow, that was some of a heavy conversation that we had with Hausalaji, and please do watch if you were not able to watch the whole video. And just to let you know that it will be also available on YouTube, our YouTube own channel, where you can see the recorded video of this live. And lastly, we will be continuing more such live sessions in the upcoming future. We will have guests and speakers who will be saying the sustainable journey and, making the sustainable practices more inspiring and motivating for you all. So stay on tune and be there and keep supporting for Ecosathi Nepal. Would love to collaborate as well, and then see you in the future. Thank you so much for joining, everyone, and see you in our next live session. Bye.